Hi everyone, welcome back to Queensland Raceway near Ipswich in sunny Queensland for the Shannon's Australian Motor Racing Nationals, presented by Penrite Oils. A great day of racing coming your way. Renato Liberto in the commentary box with me, and Renato, today it's all about open wheel racing.
Yeah, fantastic track. It's actually where I started racing in open wheelers as well, so for me it's a throwback 15 sort of years ago, but fantastic racing always from these categories.
Formula Ford, Formula 3 and the sports races coming your way today. Featuring Australia's fastest racing cars, the Australian Formula 3 Premier Series is renowned for close competition and furious racing. So the Australian Formula 3 Premier Series cars rolling out to the racetrack, and gee, it's a fascinating scenario coming into this weekend's racing. Cameron Shields, the young Queenslander who's just 15 years of age and is yet to have 10 race meetings, won the first race of the weekend on Saturday afternoon. We're getting set for race 2. These are the points coming into the weekend. Tim Macro leads the way from Chris Anthony, Roland League third, but that margin has since come down because Macro failed to finish race 1 and Chris Anthony had some dramas. They came together. They finished 7th and 8th respectively. So two title rivals from the back. It's a reverse top 4, which means Shane Wilson starts this one from pole position. Chris Gilmore making a return to the category from 3rd. Roland Legg 4th, and Cameron Shields, the race 1 winner, starts this one from 4th place in the McDonald's Gilmore Racing Dallara. So lots to play for. Race 2 in the Australian Formula 3 Premier Series here at Queensland Raceway. Chris Anthony, controversial clash with Tim Macro in race 1. The title rivals come together. Roland Legg is stalled and goes nowhere. Macro splits him and Anthony goes round as well. And Chris Gilmore, meanwhile, famous for his Formula 3 starts, leads the field into turn 1. And by mistake, that was Roman Krumans who stalled, so Legg's okay. He's P2.
That is a all-action start there for the first couple of corners, and as we've seen for the other categories this weekend, it's all about getting in that toe and trying to, hang on to the car in front. These cars are more affected by the turbulent air of the car in front around here, so it's going to be an interesting way to see how this race pans out now.
So Chris Gilmore making what is basically his annual comeback to Formula 3 at his home round in the All Properties Group McGale that they've borrowed from Harvest Motorsport. Leaps to the race lead. Former champion in Australian Formula 3. Roland Legg behind is under pressure from this really impressive youngster from Toowoomba, Cameron Shields, who's in the tow of the Mackay driver, from North Queensland in Roland Legg. Here's Macro from the back of the field, gets himself to 3rd place.
That is a super effort for that first lap. He'd be chomping at the bit after that DNF in race 1. And you can see he's not prepared to sort of give anything up on this first lap.
He has always been a very hard racer. And off the road goes Shields, bounces off the exit of turn 1. Surrenders the spot to his teammate. Chris Anthony goes through. Lurid moment, having been squeezed down into the grass by the double champion. So that was Roman Krumans. It was stalled. And that was the start from Anthony.
That was a tight squeeze there for Anthony, but luckily no contact off the start there. It is always hard to get these cars off the line with the little hand clutch in them, and it's still great to see all the cars get away cleanly though eventually.
Macro's cold tyre pace, just immense, so much experience, more than 100 starts in these cars, and that was that exchange with Cameron Shields. A little bit of debris comes off Shields' car there. Might have been a little bit of barge board perhaps in front of the engine intake, the radiator intake. Just ran wide at turn 1, lives to fight another day. This is for the lead. Round the outside goes Roland Legg on Chris Gilmore and takes it away. So nice move, just committed around the outside, Renato, and grabbed the spot.
Yeah, great move. As you see, it's all about commitment in these cars, whether it's at high speed or even low speed, trying to make the thing stick when the aerodynamic grip comes away. But Roland just did a great job there of making the car work from at turn 3.
So the youngster from North Queensland has had a wretched year in terms of luck in Formula 3. Some unreliability issues have struck as well. but now he's got clear racetrack in front of him. Gilmore behind will be looking to back Macro up into his two teammates, the McDonald's Gilmore Racing outfit, in Chris Anthony and Cameron Shields, but he might not get the opportunity because Macro goes through at turn 1. 220 k's an hour entry into there in these cars, and it's just a lift in 6th gear, and they turn in with full aero. Here's Macro through turn 2.
And just great commitment there. We spoke about that before. Turn 1 is one of the quickest corners in the track for anyone to drive any car. And Tim just stuck the car up the inside with the toe as well. So a bit of aerodynamic assistance coming into the corner. And his commitment there, he pulled 5 or 6 car lengths just in the one corner.
I love watching these cars at turn 1. It's massively overrated. Oh no, that's Macro. He's off the road. He's stopping. The championship leader looks like he's going to be out of the race.
And I thought I could actually pick up on some of the onboard footage a minute ago. It sounded like maybe some missed shifts or something in the gearbox. So maybe there's something mechanically wrong with that car. But hopefully Tim can roll the car back through the little shortcut road to the pits. It's probably not going to keep running for the race, but hopefully he can get the car ready for race 3.
So this is a replay of that little exchange of Legg taking the lead. This is Macro then on Gilmore before his race ended. Sail through at turn 1, just hear the lift as he goes in.
You're going to hear, it sounds like he's coasting in neutral and then he's trying to grab a gear. So whether it's just a selector issue or an air system issue in the paddle shift, I'm not too sure, but hopefully he's got a good team behind him and they'll do their best to get that car ready.
Rolling Legg off the road at full noise at turn 2, bounces through the undergrowth, and Chris Anthony's going to sail through and go around the outside to grab the race lead. This is really close racing and there's contact.
Wow.
Front tyre to rear. What an exchange. And Anthony's still on the outside and holding on.
And that whole way braking into turn 3, all I was doing was looking at Roland's left front tyre, still covered in dirt, thinking there's going to be some understeer here. And great job by both of them there to make that work. And real big respect to both of them, in terms of giving each other room. Still making contact, but not getting any worse than that.
How was the puff of smoke from the tyres when they interlock wheels there? It doesn't get any closer than that. In Formula 3 racing, what a great exchange. And that all started when Roland Legg just ran off the road, and now Cameron Shields gets a great run on him. And this time, he's got a bit of racing room on that run into turn 1, and he grabs the spot away and moves to second. Great drive, 15.
Cameron would have been watching from behind there, and that's a bit of experience that he'll take away from this weekend is just watching those two cars in front and also not getting involved in it too early. There's a time and a place for that, and certainly halfway through the race isn't the way to do it.
They've had their Weet-Bix this morning, these guys, haven't they? So there's Roland, just massive understeer through turn 2 and bounced the thing out through the undergrowth. Immediately drove the car off to the inside of the road to defend. And check this out.
You can see that dirt on the outside edge of the front left. That would have given him some definite understeer, and that contact wheel on wheel there. I'm just amazed that it didn't, one car didn't become airborne then.
That is as close to a crash as you will ever see. Well, if you're writing a script for a championship, this is what you want, because the championship leader's out. The guy that's second is leading the race, and barring misfortune in the next 200 metres, is going to win it. Very, very big win for Chris Anthony. Celebrates with his team. Cameron Shields second, a 1-2 on home turf for McDonald's Gilmore Racing, and Cameron Shields wraps up the Formula 3 national class. What an outstanding performance from the local team, and it's gone very, very well for them today. Roland Legg ultimately finished third, Chris Gilmore fourth, Crewman's Wilson next, with McAlpine finishing one lap behind, and Tim Macro failing to finish the championship leader out of the equation. So after one of the wildest races of the year, we get set for race 3. The grid determined by the second fastest lap in quali. Cameron Shields, who got the All Properties Group pole award on Saturday, did the job twice. He starts this one from the pointy end alongside his teammate and championship contender Chris Anthony. Championship leader Macro goes from third in this one. He's made a pretty good start. He's made a really good start. Third, second, first by turn 1. 3 wide though. That's a wild exchange, but he goes through.
And you can see Roland there going, hey, I'm going to do what Tim's doing. He jumped straight to the inside, but unfortunately got crowded out on the apex, but that is a massive start there by Tim Macro. DNFing 2 races, so I think he's got a point to prove in this third one.
Well, when we go back and at the end of the year compile all the highlights of the Shannon's Nationals, I reckon that might be a contender for start of the year, like goal of the year in the footy. So he pulls away now in the Alpine Motorsport Dallara. Shocking weekend so far. 2 DNFs. Contact in race 1. Mechanical drama in race 2. Team worked very hard to get it back out, and boy, has the double champion delivered. What a start. Meanwhile, Chris Anthony now in second. Cameron Shields third. There's Legg and Gilmore next. And his cold tyre pace, Renato, is just immense in these cars.
And it's something you have mentioned a few times, and it's something the younger guys in this field can really learn from, I think. He's the amount of experience he's got on. He's also the lap record holder for this circuit, 2014. He set a 204 here. But he's learning how to maximise the grip you have on a cold tyre. That's where Tim is always picking up his margin on the rest of the field. And I think the younger guys can really learn from that.
I love that shot at turn 1. Rudely interrupted with some action in race 2 earlier on. I was trying to say that it's a massively underrated corner for Wings and Slicks cars, and it is very, very fast, and on new Kumo tyres in qualifying it's bordering on flat, and that requires a lot of commitment through there.
Yeah, and it's as we've spoken about with this Queensland Raceway's layout, it is a bumpy circuit as well, so you've really, when it gets light over those bumps, you just got to commit. Here's the onboard from Tim Macro, next to no wheel spin whatsoever. He spotted the gap there, obviously trying to cover the left-hand side, got somehow just enough room to get in there, and has just thrown the thing in there on cold tyres and made it stick. Great drive.
Did you see the understeer as he turned in there? He just had faith that that thing was going to stick. This should be pretty telling as well. So Anthony on the left, Shields the meat and the sandwich, and Macro makes the hole. Wow. 3 wide into turn 1.
And it's that classic thing of with aerodynamics, you know, the more speed you get on the car, the more air you get over the wings, the more grip you get. But when you've got a cold tyre, who knows how much grip you're going to have on that first corner.
So Cameron Shields now is still P2. He's under pressure from Chris Anthony, who took a big 100 points out of Tim Macro in race 2 earlier today, and keeps this championship battle well and truly alive. And Shields went a little bit deep there in turn 6, and Anthony goes through and moves himself to second. Pretty fair racing between the two Maccas Gilmore Racing teammates.
But straight away he's going to jump back in the toe, get the free ride if you can down the straight as best you can. But I think just through turn 1 and turn 2 there, Chris has just got a little bit too much speed, and he's just put a little bit more gap on Cameron there.
So Anthony now moves himself to second. He's set to close the margin down on Tim Macro. Tim mentioned before this race, though, he was pretty confident that he'd go okay, A, because of the way the qualifying system works, but B, that because he's had 2 DNFs, he's got very good rubber coming into this one. They've done 3 laps of racing and qualifying.
And that's actually a fair point, Crowley, about the start that he's had as well. Obviously, he's going to have better rubber, both for turn 1, but also for the grip off the line. So, still full credit for Tim to making that work, and getting that advantage that he's done.
So Cameron Shields has done a remarkable job this weekend. 15 years of age, another young gun from Toowoomba, something in the water up there. But his entire racing career before this year was 4 Formula Ford car races after go-karting.
Yeah, it's astonishing. And also he's clocked the fastest lap of this race with a 105.5 on lap 5 as well. So great effort there. Even though Macro's got a big lead, Cameron's just showing he does have true pace in these F3 cars.
Terrific performance, and he wrapped up the Formula 3 national class in the previous race. Here's Macro, great recovery after a tough start to his weekend. The final lap of race 3. Chris Anthony will be pretty happy, and in fact Roland Legg will be as well, because if they finish the way they are, he'll win the round on points. So it won't have won a race, but will actually win the round overall. So that's pretty remarkable stuff. Here's Macro, the double champ, bounces back as only he can in a really intense weekend of racing, and he takes race 3 in a weekend otherwise dominated by McDonald's Gilmore Racing and Chris Anthony and Cameron Shields. So Macro, Anthony, Shields, Legg, Gilmore, Cremans, Wilson and McAlpine, the top 8. So 2 rounds to go in Australian Formula 3, and a championship fight on our hands as we head to Phillip Island, with Anthony closing the margin down to Tim Macro and Roland Legg well in contention in 3rd place. Cameron Shields wrapped up the Formula 3 national class, while Ross McAlpine and Shane Wilson have a close battle going in the Kumo Cup.